We all learn to ride bikes with flat pedals, and some of us will never change that and it will always be our preferred choice. But some of you might be looking to make the move to clipless pedals. So we're going to dive into the pros and cons of each style of pedal in all the disciplines that you can ride your bike, from your commute to work all the way to extreme downhill racing. First up, let's just clear up the differences between clipless and flat pedals so we know what we're talking about. So clipless pedals, despite their name, are actually pedals that clip in to your cycling shoes. These pedals are referred to as clipless pedals as they largely replace the earlier system of a toe strap or clip that went around the pedal, used back in the day by road racers such as Eddy Merckx. So French brand Look were the first company to create a clipless pedal back in 1984, and this was a revelation as it made a much safer and secure mechanical connection from you to the bike without using those pesky toe straps. So with clipless pedals you've got two main types. You've got the single-sided SPD SL version, and then you've got a double-sided SPD version. And if you're wondering, SPD stands for Shimano Pedaling Dynamics, with the SL meaning super light, which we'll go into a bit more later. It's also worth noting that with clipless pedals you're going to need a cycling specific set of shoes. These specific shoes allow you to mount a cleat to the bottom of it, which is the mechanism that connects the shoe to the pedal. So that's the fundamentals of a clipless pedal, and a flat pedal in design is much more simple and relies on two large platforms that have metal pins that poke through that grip the bottom of your shoe. Flat pedals come with different size platforms, and this can be for different size feet, but it can also change the grip levels for different styles of riding that you'll be using it for. A larger platform pedal with bigger pins like this DMR V12 that we've got here is going to be great for more aggressive mountain biking, as you're going to get more grip over the rough stuff. But if you're commuting, for example, you probably wouldn't need that big platform with those aggressive pins damaging your work shoes. Often when you buy a decent mountain bike pedal, it will come with different pin length options. The longer pins are going to give you more grip, but the shorter pins are going to be great for those riders that want to take their feet on and off the pedals a lot. With a flat pedal, you can place your foot anywhere on the platform, start pedaling, and off you go. But with a clipless system, it's a little bit more tricky to set up right. So you've got to install a cleat system that comes with the pedals that you buy to the bottom of your cycling shoes. And you have to set these up pretty accurately, or else they can cause knee pain during or even after your ride. So a lot of people take the jump to clipless pedals because they think they're going to be getting a more efficient ride. And yeah, we all want to go faster with less effort put out, but that's not always the case with clipless pedals. Some fairly recent scientific research has done some myth busting, and if you're just a casual rider with low intensity, actually using clipless pedals isn't going to make you any more efficient at all. On the other hand, where it makes a massive difference is if you're a strong rider and you're sprinting, it can make more than a 15% difference to your power output. It's not just about efficiency though, there's many more things to consider, and now we're going to take a look at why you might want to use flat pedals versus clipless pedals in all the different disciplines of cycling. So firstly, let's start with mountain biking, and there's a big divide in this world between riding clipless or flat pedals. There's some real pros and cons to each. Flat pedals are great as you can get your feet off the pedals straight away. This is great for those really hairy moments on a bike, for example when you're going around a corner and you lose traction and you need to whip your foot off to dab and keep you upright. It's also great for people that like to ride free ride and ride jumps, as there's a lot more flexibility with where your feet can be on the pedals, and this really assists with adjusting your balance. Flats are also great for nailing your technique as you learn to ride the bike properly rather than yank it around with the connection with your pedals. And the negative side of flats are that they're obviously less efficient, and they're also quite a lot harder to use when pedaling through rough terrain. Your feet can quite easily get bumped off, which not only lowers your efficiency, but if you've ever seen the pins on a decent mountain bike pedal, you can see that they'd absolutely obliterate your shins as well. So the pros to using a clipless pedal whilst mountain biking is you're going to get that really good security on those steep, technical, rough descents. You're going to get better power transfer with a more consistent circular fluid motion when pedaling. Although not always best practice, having clipless pedals on your mountain bike allows you to maneuver the bike underneath you in ways that you just can't do with flat pedals. As you're clipped in, they also give you that really secure, locked in feeling, and there's less need to drop your heels on those technical bumpy descents. They also really help with the pull-push motion in your pedal action. This is really going to help with sprints. For example, when you come out of a corner and you want to put a couple of cranks in, you're going to get that extra power out of it. And it's also really going to help when hill climbing too. If you're used to clipless pedals, then it's not so much of a problem for you, but if you're new to them, it can be tricky to get clipped in and out of them. The clipping in isn't so much of a problem, as that just usually leads to a bit of a slow, clunky start. But when you lose your balance or you're just about to crash and you can't take your feet off the pedals quite so quickly, it can feel pretty scary. This is why it's important to be confident in the terrain and trails that you're riding, as if you're not, this can actually damage your confidence. Although like with anything, you will get used to them, and over time your body will develop a muscle memory, which will just make clipping in and out of your pedals feel like second nature. Clipless pedals are really popular for the cross-country style mountain biker, as they give you that excellent power transfer. But that's not so important for enduro and downhill riders, and many of them still decide to ride in flats as they're taking their feet on and off the pedals so much. So mountain bike clipless pedals are double-sided, and that's obviously great as it gives you twice the chance of clipping in. They've also been made to take a few big hits, as that's the sort of terrain and environment that they've been designed to be used in. These pedals have also been designed to be used in muddy winter conditions. This is great as they don't get clogged up and function properly on those long muddy rides. It's also worth noting that these double-sided SPD mountain bike pedals come with their own specific cleat. Here we've got the Giro Ventana, which is a mountain bike specific shoe, and you can see the 2-bolt system underneath here. The mountain bike specific cleats are small and made out of metal, so they're really hard wearing. And they usually sit below the tread of the shoe, so they don't touch the ground much or wear out particularly quickly. A mountain bike shoe like this one tends to come with a slightly stiffer sole, which is going to give you that really solid platform as well as help you with that power transfer. But even with this slightly stiffer sole that you can see here, you're still going to be able to walk around in this sort of shoe like basically any other trainer out there. If you're looking to ride a lot more gravel, then this sort of pedal shoe combination is great, as they really deal with those diverse conditions well. The pedals shed mud well, the shoes let you walk around normally, as well as giving you a good power output and running pretty efficiently. So nowadays, most road cyclists tend to ride clipless, similar to these 105 SPD SL pedals here. The reason they do is when they're paired with a good quality, stiff-soled road shoe, they give a really good connection from the rider to the bike, as well as giving you that ultimate power transfer. You'll find that with a lot of premium, top-end, high-quality road shoes that they actually come with a full carbon sole. So as we all know, carbon is a very strong material, so it's going to give you one of the stiffest platforms available. But also, just as importantly, it's a very lightweight material, which is going to make the shoe very light itself. This allows you to pick up the pace and sprint faster, as you're not lugging around heavy shoes with your pedal action. And it also helps for hill climbing, as lugging up every extra gram counts. On the other hand, if you're not used to using road clipless pedals, they can be a bit of an art to get right. Unlike their mountain bike counterpart, a road clipless pedal system is single-sided, and this means that you have to get the pedal the right way around to get it to engage properly with the cleat system. But in a typical road ride, you don't tend to be clipping in and out of your pedals so much, so it's not so much of an issue. Do be aware though that when you start using clipless pedals, you will probably come to a stop and forget to unclip. It's something we've all done, including myself, and when you can't take your foot off the pedal and flop onto the tarmac, it's usually a big enough reminder not to do it again. So one of the biggest drawbacks to using road pedals and shoes is the fact that they're not great to use when off the bike. And what I mean by that is the cleat design mixed in with the hard sole of the road shoe, and I'm sure you've all seen it gives you that classic duck waddle. It also feels like you're walking on ice when you're walking on any sort of smooth surface. It's also worth noting that most road cleats are made out of plastic, and this is great as that keeps the shoe really lightweight, but as soon as you start walking on them, they do tend to fall apart pretty quickly. This is what mine look like after a couple of months, but the good thing is that they're really easy to replace. If you're new to road cycling, then it might just be better off to start off with some mountain bike flat pedals. That way you can focus on getting to know the bike and the controls rather than having to focus on clipping in and out of the bike. If you've got a city commute with loads of traffic lights and loads of vehicles around you, then using flats can be great too. It just means you don't have to clip in and out of your pedals all the time, which just can be a bit of a hassle. A really good halfway measure for this is actually to use the double-sided mountain bike pedals that we spoke about earlier. These are just a lot easier to clip in and out of, as well as the shoes having that added grip, so you're not going to wear away your road cleats quite so quickly. This is going to make the frequent clipping in and out a lot easier and less hassle, as well as the shoes having that grip, which is just going to make that walk to the office that little bit easier. So to summarise on all the points we've made, in general the pros of flat pedals are, they're easier to use for beginners, they're quicker and easier to get your feet on and off the pedals in those tricky situations, there's no mechanical connection so they're less prone to not working from mud and dirt, especially for mountain biking you can alter your foot placement to anywhere you want on the pedal. You're just wearing normal shoes when you stop riding, you don't have to buy cycling specific shoes. And to counter that, you're probably going to be riding less efficiently and your feet aren't going to be locked in and can slip off the pedals. So now the pros of clipless pedals are that they're most probably going to give you improved cycling efficiency. They're going to give you that consistent foot placement every time, and they're going to give you that locked in, secure, stable connection to the bike. And the cons to clipless pedals are, especially with road shoes, is that they're very difficult to walk in and they're harder to use for new cyclists. Now, just to confuse things more, there is a few pedal designs out there now that include both a flat and a clipped in option. These sort of pedals can be great for mountain biking as well, as you can be clipped in for the flats and the climbs where that's going to be most beneficial. And then you can flip over to the flat side, which is just going to allow you to whip your feet off if you need to quickly in those hairy descents. So I hope this has helped you make the right decision for choosing the right pedals for your next ride. Let us know what combination you're going to go for, as well as if you've got any questions regarding bikes or pedals, drop them in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.